What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. As promised, I tweeted out yesterday for everyone's major 3 and beyond hot takes. We're going to go ahead and review them in this video and let you know if they are scorching hot or if they are the most obvious freezing cold takes of all time. Let's dive in. All right, so the first one we have is from my guy, Joe DeLuca Merck, the GOAT, the all-timer, caster extraordinaire. I don't know. I giving a lot of gas to Joe here, but he's got 3 takes. And let's dive in on them. First is this era of players is carried by their coaches like Crowder. Second is he will hit diamond and ranked. And third is major 4 should be in London. I think the first one's kind of a hot take. I definitely think there are some teams that coaches really help. And there are definitely a reason why those teams are like super consistent or very much play at their potential. But I don't know about like carried. I think that's a little bit of a hot take. Again, I'm someone that's like coaches are beneficial in a lot of situations, but I don't know about carried. Me hitting diamond and ranked should be doable if I play enough and get carried, but you know. All right, and the third and final take, I don't think is very much a hot take. I think we all agree that we want a London event. Obviously, there are other factors as to why that's not happening. So first one's definitely a hot take. Second one, sure. And then the last one's absolutely not a hot take. Good mix from my guy, Joe. All right, next up, we have the Dooley with a couple as well. These won't make another final all season. Hot take. I think they should be good value to make a final. They're just a very well-rounded team. They're really good at doing the micro adjustments throughout a weekend and being there and being a part of Sunday. So I think they should be good value over the course of the 4 remaining events we have. And that includes champs to make it to at least one final. And I saw make a roster change at some point. I guess it's a little bit of a hot take. Right now, they're on a good path, but you know, we could see what a bunch of top 8s do to this team. And if they want to bring Wardy in off the bench. So I guess a little bit of a hot take considering how good New York's been to start. But, you know, we always see 9 to 10 teams make changes every year. So it's not like impossible. And Florida to get top 4 and major 3, I think is definitely, and we have a couple of these, you'll see that are people like Florida's going to play well. I guess it's a little bit of a hot take. You know, I personally think that they have more upside with this team, especially with Capsule. He has the potential to be like an all-star level player for this team and could probably carry them pretty deep-ish into a tournament if he's having one of those series. But top 4 is really hard in today's CDL. Like, you're basically assuming that you win, you know, probably 2 series of winners. That gets you to top 3, or you win 1 series, and then you got to win 1 loser's match. I guess it's doable depending on the matchups for Florida, but it's just tough, man. The competition's really tight, those top 8 teams. And right now, I don't know if Florida's right there. All right, we got a take here from my guy, Chris. Boston wins the Optic Major while Zin and Scumford doing the watch party. Scene number 1, scene number 2. Listen, all I gotta say is this is a fire take and would be hilarious if it happened. Can you imagine Zin's reaction if Boston wins with Beans? I would say this is a hot take. I think Boston's probably still a couple events away with this new squad from being like a winner. They still got to make it to like a Sunday and make it to like a grand final this year before we start talking about this. But I mean, it's not impossible, but I would say it's pretty hot as far as stakes go. We got Miguel coming in with this one, with FaZe getting that monkey off their back. I don't know why you put that in quotes. They will continue their dominance to split and go back-to-back, putting them in the dynasty conversation. Well, okay, a couple of things here. One is, and I probably should do a video on this point, I think they're probably like, this trio of Celium, Simpin, and Beezy is probably already a dynasty, but that's probably a video for another day. As far as going back-to-back, I think it's doable. My only concern for FaZe is that Optic's kind of a really tough matchup for them, and Optic in front of a home crowd, if they get there, I don't know. I think what's more likely is that FaZe will probably win major 4, major 5. So I think this one's a little bit of a hot take. I expect FaZe to get pretty deep at this event, but if Optic play well this split, I feel like they've got to be favorites for this one. Just the energy they get off the crowd. Albini follows up here with an interesting one. Dan Ghosty will be rookie of the year over Scrappy. You know, I got to be honest with this one. You know, I think this isn't that much of a fire take. I think it's entirely possible that if Dan comes in and Optic wins an event and Toronto don't win the events, that Dan might be rookie of the year. I don't think it's that impossible. Obviously, we haven't seen Dan play a minute of a CDL match. We're going to see that this weekend. Same with Beans if you consider or don't consider what happened to Major 1. But I mean, Dan getting rookie of the year over Scrappy is not like an impossible thing. So I wouldn't say that's a hot take. All right, we got Zach with a couple here. Hook fries. I don't know what that means, but sure, Hook playing well is not much of a hot take. I mean, we won an event last year and played well. Seattle places below London. Eyes emoji. So that would assume that London get like top 8 and then Seattle get bottom. I guess it's possible, but this London roster still, I don't know right now. That one's a very fire take because London's kind of bottom of the league right now. And Florida gets top 6. You know, we were talking about the top 4 thing for Florida. Top 6, I think, is very doable. All they got to do is make winners and win 1 match. And if they start in losers, they got to win 2. I think that's definitely doable for them. All right, Nicholas coming in with a couple of interesting ones here. Top 2 this major is OPTIC and New York Subliners. I don't think there's that fire of a take, OPTIC getting top 2. Some people like New York. I'm a little bit iffy right now in New York. I want to see more from their S&D, but I can definitely see them getting top 2 this event. So I don't think that's that much of a hot take. The next one is, though, another ranked kid gets picked off of this year's rank play. You know, I think the interesting thing about this is, like, if we consider like Joe Deceives like a ranked player, then, you know, Joe started playing like S&D chalice with them and they saw that he was a well-rounded player and they're like, okay, well, this kid's actually pretty good. So, I mean, it's kind of a fire take. We've seen it happen before. Like, I think like Nick Classic got picked up back in the day from being a ranked player. I think that's how Crowder found him. Obviously, like, Abizi got a lot of credit for all of his rank play stuff in World War II, but he was already on a pro team. So it's not out of the impossibility, man. A lot of players in this league get spotted via like rank play or sub tournaments. It's not that uncommon of a path. So let's see if it happens. We got gaming half and half, or half and half gaming. I don't know how to actually pronounce his username. He says, or she says, Florida will squad wipe 2 more times. Probably a fire take. I think they'll definitely make changes if this team doesn't work, but squad wipe twice is like, well, that's a lot of players to go through. I think that's a pretty fire take, honestly. All right, so we got like 3 very similar ones here. So we're gonna start off with this one from Peyton, which is Too Real will be the major 3 Scuff MVP and get his own line of Scuff pillows. We've also got LC coming in with top 3 finish for Vegas in the major with a big influence from Naga and Too Real. And finally, Red Panda comes in with Vegas getting second at the major, no cap. So I think all of these are kind of fire takes. Look, like, I think people think that Vegas might be a decent team now. It's just so hard to get top 2 or top 3 these events, even if you go like 4-1, 5-0 in the qualifiers. It's just hard with teams like FaZe and Thieves and how consistent they are and making it to weekends and just being a little bit more disciplined teams. I think Vegas can maybe back into top 6 or top 4 this tournament. I think to say they're gonna get top 2 or win or Too Real gets MVP, I think are kind of crazy fire takes. All right, we got my boy Joel coming in here with this interesting take. Beans fries in online qualifiers, and then when lane comes around, he'll be shooting at Ghost. I think this is a fire take because I don't agree with this whatsoever. We saw Beans on LAN already, and he played really good in that series. He also played good at every LAN he's gone to in Challengers. I don't think this guy is going to be one of those players that's going to get nervous on LAN. Yeah, he may have a bad event or 2 this season if, you know, they make it to champs, and that kind of happens to any player. Like, Simp has had bad series on LAN. Salium's had bad series on LAN. It happens. Or bad events, rather. But to say that Beans is going to, like, be just an online player, I don't know if I agree with that one. I think that's a little bit of a scorching hot take. Next up, we have an interesting one from Caden. Salium turns it to the next level to truly solidify himself as the best player in the game after shaving your head. All right, listen, I think MC's still very good, but, you know, if he wants to use shaving my head as motivation, sure, that's on him. That's a fire take because I think MC's still pretty good, but RP my hair, man, it's going to be gone in about a week. Up next, we have George. Florida's roster change doesn't improve them, and they'll reshuffle after Major 3. Interesting take. I think they could definitely make changes, but I don't think they're going to squad wipe unless they, like, don't win a series. Capsule doesn't move me, and Fellow will fold. I don't think, like, either of those 2 things. I don't agree with that. I think Capsule is one of those players, even on LAN last year, is just got that takeover Gundy potential again. I just think people are underestimating this kid's potential. And I think Fellow isn't the most consistent slayer in the world, especially at this level, but I don't think he's going to fold. He's not that type of player. He's not a nervous player. Like, I don't agree with that whatsoever. I think you're disregarding a lot of history with Fellow there. We got my bro Rez coming in with a very hot take. I would say this is a super hot take. Toronto will perform bad and end up making a roster change with bringing in Hixie. I just don't see it for Toronto to make a roster change right now. I don't think Hixie really solves any of their problems, and it would make them probably a little bit slower. I do think there is a question of whether or not this Toronto team is like the top 2 or top 3 team they think they are, or we think they are, but I don't know if they're going to make a roster change this year. They normally have run that camp pretty stable unless there's some big internal issue that causes the team to break up. I just don't see it right now. Following that, we have Jack. OPTIC will struggle for the remainder of the season, placing top 6 max, and then we'll make another roster change and we'll win champs. Well, okay. That is about as hot take as it gets. If they were consistently placing top 8 this year, the next couple events, I think they would end up making a roster change. So I think there's already a fire take, and then to win champs on top of that. Can you imagine that story if they just keep getting top 6 and they just pull up the champs and win? Oh, that's a fire take. We've had mostly sort of big picture takes, but we got a little bit of a smaller one from Spooky, mostly about this weekend. Florida upset phase 3-2, assuming the following gets in the rotation: Asilo and Mercado S&D, and you see the records on your screen. They're both very good, the maps. Is this that fire of a take? I mean, the upsets are definitely a fire take, but I mean, if Florida's getting good maps, I guess it's doable. Nah, we'll say it's a fire take. I'm counting on FaZe to probably get it done against Florida, just specific on the respawns, but these first series, every major could be a little bit funky. Yeah, I can see it. I can see it. Only a couple left. Let's follow up here with Sean. Vegas will pick up another player after the major for TJ. Then they will be the first team to use a different roster and respawn and search, with TJ coming in for all the S&D games. So there's a fire take. My guess, see, here's the issue with Vegas is whenever they drop someone, they end up getting released because they never want to actually hold as player in their bench spot. I don't agree with the strategy. It means that Theory is always their sub. I think they're just being super cheap, and they're not doing right by the players in their organization. That aside, as much as I'd love to see TJ be a S&D only player, I don't know if Vegas is going to be willing to do that. I think it's worth a shot for them, but you know, in order to actually pull this off, I just don't see them being the org to do it, but I guess you never know. Jake with a good one about New York subliners. Priest, aka Priesta, goes off and New York make Major 3 grand finals. Preston's capable of being that player. He played good in Major 1. Didn't have the best of time in Major 2, but he can definitely rebound. I don't think this is a super fire take. New York's a very good team, should be a very good team. Need to work on their surge, but Preston's got that ability to be like a top 5, top 3 player at any given event that he goes to. Jack Burnett coming in with a fun one about London. Ravens finished the season with at most one of their current starting roster. So 3 changes. That one remaining player will not be ASIM for whatever reason, ... That's a fire take. I would say that ASIM is definitely someone that I would see as we get towards the middle of the season, teams thinking about trying to buy out. I just don't know from the London end what it would take to keep him. I think there's a little bit of a fire take. I mean, squad wiping 3 players. I think they're going to make probably 2 more changes with their team. I don't know about 3. And ASIM being the one that stays, man, I don't know. That's definitely a fire take because I don't really see that scenario playing out. All right, next up we have Tyler. Seattle places top 12 again at Major 3. Not a hot take. Questionable in their search right now. It is not. I mean, you could be an ant team, not that bad of a team, and just get top 12 because it's 4 teams place top 12 at every event. So it's definitely possible. I would say lukewarm take. Opt to get top 4 and place Hook with Pred after Major 3 is a fire take because I don't think Pred is gettable right now. It would take the first thing happening. I think for the second thing to happen, I would say Optic getting top 4 and doing a roster change is definitely doable based on sort of the sort of in the moment that I think Dashi and Shotzi kind of live in as players, especially in regards to roster changes. But getting Pred is going to be tough with his buyout. And Toronto Ultra never makes a grand finals as a fire take. I think they're going to make at least 1 this year for sure. 2 more left. The first one from Kevin. NYSL continues trending down and places top 8 at Major 3. I would say it's not a super hot take. I could see it just because of how stiff the competition is right now in sort of the middle pack of the CDL. You don't want to see this happen because it's going to kind of open up a lot of questions about this team. But I would say, you know, water on the stove, just starting to turn over and start bubbling, you know, that kind of level of take. We're starting to get the hot territory there. And a final one here from Zach. Optic don't win a series online at their own major top 12. Yeah, I think this is a good take to end on because I don't see this happening. I think they're going to win at least a couple, man. They're not getting top 12 at home. I think this is the most fire take I've seen out of the entire set. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. A bunch of interesting takes from the timeline. Let me know in the comments what you think about some of them. Do you think my evaluation of takes was off? Let me know. Like if you enjoyed the video, subscribe for more. We're gonna have a couple of interesting pieces coming out over the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. As always, guys, we will see you on the next one.